You gave him everything, your time, your body, your loyalty. You answered his texts at 2 a.m. You laughed at his jokes. You listened when no one else would. And then one day, he chose her, not because she was prettier, not because she was smarter, not even because she loved him more. He chose her because she understood something you didn't, something buried deep in the masculine psyche, something invisible to most women, something that can't be faked. Today, you're going to learn what that something is, and once you see it, you'll never look at men or yourself the same way again. This is the hidden psychology of men, and this is the truth no one tells you. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." For centuries, women have called it fate, bad luck, wrong timing, not enough chemistry. But what if it wasn't fate at all? What if every time a man walked away, every time he chose someone else, there was a pattern, a hidden psychological script playing out beneath the surface? Jung believed that men don't consciously choose their partners. They respond to archetypes, to ancient, primal templates buried in the unconscious mind. Templates shaped by evolution, survival, and the deep need for psychological completion. When a man says, "I don't know why I'm drawn to her," he's telling the truth. He doesn't know because the decision was never made in his conscious mind. It was made in the shadows, in the realm Jung called the unconscious. And in that realm, logic doesn't rule, neither does fairness, neither does love. At least not the kind you've been taught to give. Think about it. How many times have you done everything right, only to watch him fall for someone who seemed to do everything wrong? She didn't text back immediately. She didn't reassure him constantly. She didn't bend herself into shapes to keep him comfortable. And yet, he chose her. Why? Because she triggered something deeper, something older, something that bypasses reason and strikes directly at the core of masculine desire. Here's the truth most women will never hear. When a man chooses a woman, he's not choosing her. He's choosing the reflection of his own soul. Jung called this the Anima. The Anima is the feminine image living inside every man's unconscious. It's the idealized woman he's been searching for since childhood, shaped by his mother, his first crush, his fantasies, his wounds. And here's where it gets dangerous. Man doesn't fall in love with who you are. He falls in love with how closely you match his anima. If you fit the template, even partially, he'll project his entire inner world onto you. You'll feel like a goddess, like you've known each other forever, like the universe conspired to bring you together. But if you don't fit the template, it doesn't matter how kind you are, how beautiful, how loyal. You could be perfect on paper and still feel invisible to him because you're not activating his unconscious. You're not the mirror he's been searching for. And the worst part, the woman who does activate it might not even be trying. She might be emotionally unavailable. She might be unpredictable. She might be everything you're not. But to him, she feels like destiny. You've felt this, haven't you? The sting of watching him light up around someone else, someone who didn't work as hard, didn't care as much, didn't love him the way you did. And you asked yourself, what does she have that I don't? The answer is simple. She has the shape of his anima, and you don't. But here's where the story deepens. Not all animas are the same. Every man carries a different inner image. Some men are drawn to the mother, warm, nurturing, safe. The he, woman who makes him feel held, protected, seen. She doesn't challenge him, she receives him. Other men are drawn to the lover, wild, sensual, unpredictable. The woman who awakens his body and makes him feel alive. She doesn't comfort him, she ignites him. Still others are drawn to the muse, creative, mysterious, untouchable, the woman who lives just beyond his reach, forever inspiring him to chase, create, conquer. She doesn't reassure him, she haunts him. And some men, the rarest, are drawn to the queen, sovereign, self-possessed, unshakable, the woman who doesn't need him, but chooses him. She doesn't beg for his attention, she grants him access. Now here's the brutal truth. If you're trying to become what he wants, you've already lost, because the anima isn't something you perform, it's something you either embody or you don't. You can't fake the mother if you're the lover. You can't pretend to be the muse if You're the queen. And if you try, he'll sense the dissonance, he'll feel the inauthenticity, and he'll walk away, often toward a woman who isn't trying at all. Think about the last time you changed yourself for a man. You softened your opinions, you hid your needs, you became quieter, smaller, sweeter. And did it work? Or did he just drift further away? That's because masculine desire doesn't respond to effort. It responds to resonance, to alignment, to the feeling that you're not performing, you're being. And the woman he chose, she wasn't better, she was just more herself. Let's go deeper. The hidden psychology of men isn't about what they say, it's about what they feel and what they can't explain. Freud understood this. He called it the unconscious drive, the invisible force that shapes every decision, every attraction, every obsession. Men don't choose women logically, they choose women viscerally, based on how you make them feel in the first 30 seconds, before a single word is spoken, before you've proven your worth. It's in your energy, your posture, the way you hold your gaze or look. A way evolutionary psychologists call this pre-selection signaling, but Jung would call it something else. The activation of the self. When a man meets a woman who embodies his anima, something ancient wakes up, not lust, though that's part of it, not infatuation, though that's the surface. It's a recognition, a feeling that says, she completes something in me. And once that recognition happens, logic disappears. He'll ignore red flags, overlook incompatibility, sacrifice stability, reason, even other relationships, just to be near her. This is why you see smart men choose chaotic women, why successful men fall for women who don't have their lives together, why emotionally intelligent men stay with partners who wound them. It's not stupidity, it's the unconscious. And the unconscious doesn't care about your resume. It cares about the archetype. Now comes the hard part, the part most women avoid, because it's not just about him, it's about you. If you've been chosen over repeatedly, it's time to ask, what archetype am I trying to embody? And more importantly, is it actually mine? Here's what happens when you wear the wrong mask. You attract men, but you can't keep them. They desire you, but they don't commit. They say they love you, but they don't choose you, because deep down, they sense the incongruence, the gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be. And that gap, no matter how small, creates doubt, not in you, in them. They start to feel uneasy, like something's off, like they're missing something, and eventually they'll meet a woman who doesn't make them feel that way, a woman whose energy matches her essence, whose archetype is lived, not performed. And that's when he leaves. Not because you weren't enough, but because you weren't you. Think about the woman he chose instead. Was she more beautiful? Maybe, maybe not. Was she more accomplished? Doubtful. But was she more certain? Was she more comfortable in her own skin? Did she seem to care less about his approval? Yes, and that's what he couldn't resist, not her. Perfection, her presence, her refusal to shrink, her unwillingness to perform. She didn't chase his anima. She was her own archetype. And he either fit or he didn't. That's power. That's magnetism. That's what you've been missing. So how do you stop losing? How do you become the woman men choose and stay chosen? You stop trying to be chosen. You start choosing yourself. Here's what that looks like. Step 1. Discover your true archetype. Are you the mother, the lover, the muse, or the queen? Not what you think men want. Not what society says is valuable. What feels true when you're alone? What energy flows naturally when you're not performing? That's your archetype, and it's the only one that will ever work. Step 2. Stop shapeshifting. The moment you sense a man pulling away, your instinct is to adjust, to become softer, funnier, sexier, quieter. Stop. That's the death of desire. Men don't want a woman who changes for them. They want a woman who stays solid and lets them orbit. Step 3. Understand his anima, but don't become it. If he's drawn to the mother and you're the queen, let him go. If he craves the muse and you're the lover, release him. The right man won't need you to transform. He'll recognize you immediately, and he'll feel relief, not pressure. Step 4. Embody paradox. Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like The contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But transformation doesn't mean loss of self. It means expansion. The woman who understands this is both strong and soft, present and mysterious, generous and self-possessed. She doesn't choose one archetype and freeze. She flows, but from a center that never moves. And that is what men can't walk away from. Let's return to the hidden psychology of men, because there's one more layer. One more truth that changes everything. Men don't just choose based on who you are. They choose based on how you make them feel about themselves. Nietzsche said, "In revenge and in love, woman is more barbarous than man." He meant this. Women remember everything, every slight, every rejection, every broken promise, and when a man senses that you're keeping score, that you're waiting for him to fail, he'll run. Not because he's weak, but because he can't be a hero in your story if you've already cast him as the villain. The woman he chose, she made him feel like a king, not by worshipping him, but by seeing him, truly, and still choosing to stay. She didn't punish him for his past. She didn't test him endlessly. She didn't make him prove his love over and over. She just believed in him. And belief, real, unshakable belief, is the rarest gift a woman can give. It's rarer than beauty, rarer than loyalty, rarer than love itself. Because most women don't believe in men anymore. They've been hurt too many times, disappointed too often, so they guard their hearts and wait for men to earn their trust. And men feel it. They feel the weight of your doubt, the coldness of your protection. And they go searching for warmth elsewhere, not because they're shallow, but because they're human, and humans move toward light. Here's where the philosophy gets personal. You've been asking the wrong question. You've been asking, why didn't he choose me? But the real question is, why did I need to be chosen by him? Because here's the secret they don't tell you in fairy tales. A woman who knows her worth doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses, and the moment she starts choosing, everything shifts. Men sense it. They feel the difference between a woman who's auditioning and a woman who's deciding. One is desperate, the other is sovereign. One is performing, the other is present. And presence, true presence, is the most magnetic force in human connection. Simone de Beauvoir wrote, "One is not born, but rather becomes a woman." She meant, you're not born knowing your power. You become powerful through self-awareness, through the painful, beautiful process of shedding every lie you've been told about who you should be. Every time a man didn't choose you, you were given a gift, not rejection, redirection, toward yourself, toward your true archetype, toward the woman you were always meant to be, before the world taught you to shrink. And that woman? She doesn't compete. She doesn't compare, she doesn't chase. She exists fully, unapologetically, and the right man doesn't choose her. He recognizes her, like finding something he didn't know he'd lost. But let's be honest, this path isn't easy, because embracing your true archetype means letting go of control. It means accepting that some men will never see you. Some men will walk right past you toward someone else, and it will sting. But here's what you gain: freedom. Freedom from performing, freedom from pretending, freedom from the exhausting cycle of trying to be enough for someone who was never your match. The philosopher Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In modern terms, be willing to be misunderstood, be willing to be passed over by men who don't get you, because the ones who do, the ones who see you clearly and choose you anyway, those are the only ones who matter. And they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for truth, for a woman who's done the work, who's faced her shadow, who knows her wounds and doesn't weaponize them, who's powerful without being cruel, soft without being weak. That woman is rare. And she doesn't wonder why she was chosen. She knows. Let's go deeper into the hidden psychology of men one final time, because there's a paradox at the heart of masculine desire. Men want to be needed, but not too needed. They want to be wanted, but not only wanted. They want to feel essential, but not trapped. This is the dance Jung described as the union of opposites, and most women never learn the steps. They either cling too tightly and suffocate him, or distance themselves too much and lose him. But the woman who understands this paradox, she holds him close and lets him go. She's deeply invested and completely detached. She loves him fully and needs him not at all. This isn't game playing, it's selfhood. It's the ability to love from a place of wholeness, not emptiness. And men feel the difference. When you love him because he completes you, he'll eventually feel the burden. But when you love him because you're already complete, and he simply adds richness to your life, he'll never want to leave, because he's no longer responsible for your happiness. He's just part of it. And that freedom, the freedom to love without owing, is intoxicating. It's what the woman he chose gave him. Not intentionally, not strategically, but naturally, because she'd already done the work you're doing now. She'd already become whole. So let's talk about what happens next. What happens when you stop chasing archetypes that aren't yours? When you stop shape-shifting, when you stop waiting to be chosen, you become unchosen, and that's not a curse, it's a gift, because the wrong men stop seeing you. The men who need you to be smaller, quieter, easier, they disappear. And in the space they leave behind, something new emerges. Clarity. You start to see men not as saviors or projects, but as people, flawed, human, limited. And you stop expecting them to fill voids only you can heal. You also start to see yourself differently, not as the woman who wasn't enough, but as the woman who was too much for the wrong person. And too much for the wrong person is perfect for the right one. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who he wanted, not who they said you should be, who you are, underneath the performance, underneath the fear. Underneath every mask you've ever worn to earn love, that woman is still there waiting. And the moment you let her rise, the moment you stop apologizing for her, everything changes. You stop attracting men who need fixing. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop giving endlessly and receiving crumbs because you finally remembered you were never the problem. You were just in the wrong story." Let's talk about power. Real power. Not the power to control, but the power to choose. Schopenhauer believed that human beings are driven by blind, irrational will, that we're puppets of desire, constantly chasing satisfaction we'll never find. But he also believed in one escape, renunciation, the ability to step back, observe your desires, and choose not to act on them. This is the ultimate feminine power. Not seduction, not manipulation, not even beauty. It's the ability to walk away, to say, "I see what you're offering, and it's not enough." Most women are terrified of this power, because walking away feels like losing, like admitting defeat, like proving you weren't chosen. But here's the truth. Walking away is the only way to reclaim your sovereignty. Every time you stay in a relationship that diminishes you, you lose a piece of yourself. Every time you tolerate disrespect, half-love, breadcrumbs, you teach him that's all you're worth. And he believes you, not because he's cruel, but because you're showing him what you'll accept. The woman he chose. She didn't accept it. She didn't fight, beg, or prove. She just left. And in leaving, she became unforgettable, because absence is more powerful than presence when presence has become expected. Scarcity is more magnetic than availability when availability has been taken for granted. And a woman who knows when to leave is more valuable than a woman who stays through everything. The one that ties everything together, the hidden psychology of men, isn't just about understanding them. It's about understanding yourself, because the reason he didn't choose you has nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with resonance. You weren't the wrong woman. You were just the wrong woman for him, and he was the wrong man for you, but you couldn't see it because you were too busy trying to be chosen, too busy performing, too busy believing that love is something you earn, but love isn't earned, it's recognized. Two people meet, and either the unconscious says yes or it doesn't. If it doesn't, no amount of effort will change it. No amount of beauty, loyalty, or sacrifice, because the unconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to resonance, to alignment, to the inexplicable feeling that says, this is it. And when you meet someone whose unconscious says yes to yours, you'll know, because it won't feel like effort. It'll feel like relief, like coming home, like you can finally stop performing and just be. That's the relationship worth having. That's the love worth waiting for. And you'll never find it by shape-shifting. You'll only find it by becoming more yourself. Empowerment. The woman who understands. 32 So here's what you do now. You stop asking, why didn't he choose me? And you start asking, who am I when I stop performing? You stop trying to fit his anima. And you start embodying your own archetype. You stop waiting to be chosen, and you start choosing yourself, your peace, your standards, your truth. And when you finally step into your power, something magical happens. The wrong men fade away, the right ones step forward, and you're no longer confused about why, because you've stopped looking for validation in their eyes. You found it in your own. You've stopped asking, am I enough? And started knowing I am the prize. Not because you're perfect, but because you're whole. And wholeness is the rarest, most magnetic quality a human being can possess. Men feel it. They're drawn to it. They choose it, not because you're chasing them, but because you're no longer running from yourself. The woman who understands this never begs, never convinces, never performs. She exists fully, authentically, unapologetically, and the right man doesn't choose her because she's the best option. He chooses her because she's the only option. Because being with anyone else after experiencing her would feel like settling. That's your power. That's your birthright. And it's been waiting for you all along. Closing the final truth. 41 So let's end where we began. He chose her, not you, and it hurt, but now you know why. Not because you weren't enough, but because you were trying to be something you weren't. And the moment you stop trying, the moment you return to yourself, everything changes. You stop losing. You stop competing. You stop wondering why you're not chosen. Because you've become unchosen in the best possible way, free, whole, sovereign. And the next time a man chooses you, you'll know it's real because he's not choosing the mask. He's choosing you. The woman who stopped performing. The woman who stopped chasing. The woman who finally understood. The hidden psychology of men was never about them. It was about you. Final quote, Carl. Jung said it best. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But transformation only happens when both are real. So stop performing, start becoming, and let the right man find you, not the version of you he wants, but the woman you've always been. That's the woman he'll choose, and he'll never let her go.